This morning I'm sitting with this question. Even if I know something is up, something is changing, something is moving, I sense it, I feel it, can I not immediately have to know what this is becoming? What is coming out of this? Can I be in this observation mode with myself a little bit longer? So really what I'm talking about here is the space between uncertainty and decision. And culturally, this is a little bit of my pet peeve, right? Because socially, culturally, we're quick to call that space stuck, being stuck, feeling stuck. And I don't want to say that there is no such place, because there is. I can attest to that. I can definitely validate that word in life. But this discussion right here is an embodiment discussion, is about awareness and consciousness in its application, right? And so when we slow down and we're sitting in that place without feeling rushed, and I think a lot of anxiety and overwhelm comes from that pressure that I have to know. I have to know just because something is up and something is moving and I can't quite fully get the picture, but how can I move? How can I move if I don't know what this is becoming already? Like, how can I pick the direction? That's a valid question. So what I'm talking about here is capacity of the nervous system to withstand that pressure, so we can apply our awareness and notice, oh my goodness, there's so much movement. This space is so large and wide, and there's so much going on, right? And this comes to me as an inspiration, or as I was so inspired by somebody, and this is the other beauty about consciousness. You don't have to be into spirituality. Consciousness is happening. We're living it. If you have the words to define what it is that you're going through or not, it is movement. It is happening. It is life. And so I'm in conversation with this person who, doesn't really know what it is that I'm doing. They know, but they don't really understand. I'm woo woo, right? And I'm watching them having made a decision and having already reorganized everything towards this decision. They have committed towards this decision. But as they started moving, they noticed, this is really destabilizing. This is not exactly what, I don't know if it's what I thought I wanted. And I think what I found really inspiring and so beautiful, it was that they didn't go into this whole judgment. They didn't, nulled their decision. They just went through a whole evaluation of their values, right? It's like, what is it that, and I'm expanding a little bit. I'm making this a little bit more general, but it's when you take that moment and you start moving into, what is it that I actually know? What is it that it's actually true? And what is it that it's actually no longer true for me? I like this one too, where it's like, where is now my actual loyalty with? Where am I wanting to be available? And where do I want to minimize that availability with? So, in that context, even though this idea, this decision that I made was sort of in the general direction that I want to go, how do I move towards that instability? And that was so beautiful to me. It was so, again, like I was observing that whole communication as the observer, able to conclude. But here is, if we understand this observation and we start applying it as a practice, how much less judgmental we can be and how much more stable we can move through something that is changing, something that wants to become. Because here's the trick with it. If we can sense that something is changing and we conclude too quickly, we decide too quickly, that decision has to come from something that is already known. So we're moving sort of with the past as a shadow. But when we allow for that space to untangle, then the past at a somatic level, at an energetic level, will have less of an effect, because we're giving the nervous system time to decouple what has been with, I'm about to make a whole new decision, but because I'm allowing to move from a much more stable place, even though I'm moving slower, that shadow has less and less influence. My potential to make a whole new decision, to move that angle of the trajectory further from where I came from, is greater. And so when we enlarge this capacity, which I call locate, I have capacity to locate myself, to stabilize myself, to understand my alignment, my truth in the context of moving life. And why it's capacity as well is because I'm building resilience to withstand the pressure. Now, sometimes there are contracts, there's decisions, there due dates. So, you know, we can't be unreal with this. But when we can be with something that is still becoming, and I've had a lot of hard time with this word becoming, right? Because it's like, it's not be and it's not come. Like, is it a stillness or is it a movement? Yes. When we can be with this word becoming, you're literally increasing your capacity, you're increasing your potential of the new to become manifest. And that's a totally different space than being stuck. Even though on the 3D, somebody that doesn't understand and they're just looking at you and you're like, they can easily project that You still haven't made that decision yet? You still don't know? Like, oh my God, you're stuck. You need to figure this out. What is the tool? Where is the help? What's the next person that can give you something? Just observe all the entanglement that is happening, the revisiting of the values, the holds of the past. There's so much movement. And the more you practice this, the more you are aware, the easier it is for you to sense this. You're literally increasing your sensory precision. So that space is not wasted. It's the other thing we say, right? There is a lot of coherence that is restructuring, that we don't have tangible proof. So there takes like a strength. Sometimes it takes community. It does take somebody to say, to validate that, to say that, yes, I do see what you're doing here. I do see that this is not a waste of time, so that you can develop that trust with yourself. But overall, in the end, it is you at that center. That it is the strength that comes from within you. So it's another one of those things. You can be together, but in the end, you're still by yourself, right? You can hear this advice, but it's still yours to realize. But the togetherness helps a lot. Anyway, I'm just exhaling here for a second, because like I said, this is a nervous system space. This is a resonant space. You don't have to fully understand what I just said. As long as you feel into the resonance, allow that coherence to move through you, it will land in your perception and it will settle the way you need it in the moment that you need it. But check out my website if you do want help with locating yourself, help with being witnessed as you move through this space between uncertainty and decision. See what's available, reach out with questions, leave me a comment. How do you perceive this space? Happy surfing.